My name is Ashish Antal. I am the engineering director at MLSListings. MLSListings is one of the few MLSs in the United States with an engineering staff working internally for providing MLS-specific software solutions that are targeted for brokers and real estate professionals. Intel recently built a library that helps with deep machine learning, and one of the project that came out of this collaboration is image similarity between two houses. So when our end users are looking for a house and they find something that they really like, we want to recommend other homes which are similar to the house that they are interested in, and provide them as a possible alternative to the property that they're looking for. Intel's team, when they were looking into working with MLSListings, they needed a lot of real estate related data and images. And MLSListings currently, we aggregate data from almost most of the MLSs in California. So we have a huge set of we have about 10 million listings, and each listings has more than like 50 or 25 images. So that was very attractive to Intel, because they could use this image set to build a solution on their library that is available as open source. And one of the goals for them is to get some adoption. So from MLSListings side, we wanted to provide the next search. We wanted to make it easy for consumers to find homes that they like. We started looking into some kind of funding from Microsoft, and Microsoft was very excited about this project because they now have Azure platform. It's a cloud-based service, and they when they heard about this project, they said, yes, we can provide you the extra resources, we can provide you all the credit you want. And then their team got involved. Intel team was very excited about it. So, and because we want to do this quick with not a lot of resources available, we relied heavily on RESO standards. So we were already putting together OData APIs. For Intel, it was very easy to get access to the OData API, and they started pulling the media immediately. So our goal was to do the POC in 2 weeks, and we wanted to come here at RESO and we wanted to share this with the community. So we came up with a very specific requirement. We wanted to run this system. We wanted Intel to come to our APIs, get all the media they needed, train their models, use Azure infrastructure, and process these images, and provide us with an API that we could use in return to fetch the similar images. So we provided them a unique identifier to recognize, to identify a listing that an end user would be looking at, and then they ran it through their system to find 5 other or 10 other images which are similar to the image that the user was looking at. We were surprised to see how close it could match and suggest images that looked similar to what user was looking at. So we integrated it. It's working as better than we expected. So now we know the technology works. Our goal now is to take it to the next level. In the POC, we focused on the front of the house, and we were able to find other houses which looked identical to the house that you would be looking at. Our next goal is to identify different features inside a house. We want to start tagging the images. We want to find different features in different rooms. We want to also provide some auto population capabilities. So when our listing agents are entering listings, they upload their images, we can then send those images to the same library and then extract the features from the images and then provide those features within the listing itself. Yes, so we do want consumers to be able to provide some inputs which are not available in the listing data, and then we want to search for those features into the images and see if the image has that feature or not. So the entire POC is done on a consumer website. We want this feature for the consumers. We want to make sure that consumers, when they find something interesting, and if you're looking at something, visual similarities are very attractive. You can immediately relate to one thing to another thing, and it's always something that users like. It would be harder because as I said, we had OData API readily available to Intel. If we didn't have the API, we would be spending the amount of time it took us to implement the entire POC. We would be spending that entire time just figuring out how to get our millions of images, access to millions of images to this company. With the APIs, it was easy. All we had to do was give them an access token and they pulled the images. We never had to worry about security. We never had to worry about providing some kind of spatial access to our system. So there were no IT involved in it. We didn't have to open up any security holes, no networking. So it was just easy because we had those RESO standard APIs available. RESO is helping us a lot. When we talk about these standards, when we see that, okay, we have a standard for API, we know that we're going to be using these APIs to provide this information to our data feed clients, we now have the same capabilities available to our own teams. When we were working on our new website, one of the things that came really handy was the OData API, because our front-end team never had to worry about where the data is going to come from. It's the same API that our clients are using is used by our own product. Our own consumer website currently is built on top of the same RESO Web API that provide this information to hundreds and thousands of our data feed customers. It shaves a lot of development time off because you don't have to worry about that data access anymore because the API team has already done that work for us. One of the suggestions I have is make sure that you're well aware of all the standards, and then B, try to find as much open source as possible and figure out a way not to make it overly expensive for an MLS, because the end goal should be adoption. And once you know that you have built a technology that you can integrate with an MLS with the least friction, which means more standards, then it'll most likely get more adoption. And that's what the goal should be for any technology company who wants to work with MLS. Just try to make it frictionless. And that's the only advice I would have for them.